Hey guys, VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So here we are. We're going to start the pillars, making the holes for the pillars for the containers. Rented an auger for a week. It's an 18-inch. First time using this thing, so don't know what I'm doing, but I learned pretty quick, so I get it. Here's the first hole. I'm doing normal speed here, and I'm going to speed it up for the next chunk of the video. So there's the whole property has a lot of rock in it, so I'm expecting a lot of fun hitting rocks and stuff. The auger works obviously pretty good if it hits normal soil, but once it starts hitting rocks, it's gonna flop around. And sure enough, it did for a lot of the holes. It looks like it's supported, closer to the bobcat. It's got a little support arm, so I can force it to go away from the bobcat a little bit. But once it starts moving around with rocks, it kind of goes left to right and outwards a little bit. So it took a little bit to get that going. I just reoriented the bobcat in the right direction so I can actually get the force that I want on the hole where it's going to go. And I'm doing oversized holes. We're doing 12-inch pillars, so this is just bigger. Let us do a little flop. Kind of move the pillar around if we need to, just to make sure it's centered once we pour the concrete. So it'll be all good. So hole number one, yay, getting there. I was kind of moving slow. I didn't have this in the fast flow set up on the actual corkscrew, so I had the auger going kind of slow speed, and then I cranked up the throttle as well, so started working it a little bit harder, made a little quicker work of things. So first hole, I figured out how to get all the junk out of there. You still see a lot of stuff on the auger. Later on, I'm just gonna tilt it, and it's I'll spin it around when it's in the air, and it'll knock it off. So you can see all the stuff coming out of it. I also later on I start stopping the auger from spinning, and I pull the stuff out, and that kind of makes the dirt come out. So live and learn. There you go. Dump it all in that, and I did that for most of the holes. You might see that in the sped up version. Okay, hole number two. I sped it up here a little bit because I know you don't want to watch all the holes being drilled one at a time. So anyway, it was fun. Machines are great. I love them. So on the back side of the garage, there's going to be two containers directly on the right side corner, going outwards, and then there'll be two other ones slated 14 feet from the garage, going further out. So here's the first hole I'm doing right by the foundation. The foundation form, I'm sure if you saw my other videos, the bottom of the form kind of punched out a little bit when we were pouring the concrete. And so I have to do a little fancy schmancy concrete work on that to put the pillar right against the garage. And I may have to chisel a tiny bit of concrete so that the container can actually be flat against the side of the foundation. We'll show you that later. I looked at it a little closer, and that's what's going to have to happen. So hole making, you can see I'm getting the idea here. So I'm digging, I stop, and I throw the dirt out. The video sped up kind of enough to where you won't see all the little bitty details of this, but the holes were pretty quick, pretty easy to do with this thing. Aligning is the big thing. When you hit rock, it kind of throws the alignment off a little bit. So after this, you'll see me probably checking the alignment. Later on in the video, you'll see me doing it anyway. Making sure the holes are lined up properly. So here's an example of a hole that once you start hitting rock, it starts wandering the bit all over the place. And I can only force it to go away from the bobcat, can't pull it towards you. So there I am using the pickaxe. I did that several times actually. You probably don't see that in the video very well, but I got out and started hammering with the pickaxe at certain rocks and making the hole a little bit different shape. And again, the GoPro's doing some weird stuff. If you notice, the image is kind of tweaked at the very bottom of the screen. It's like double layered. Don't know why. It just does it sometimes. Doesn't do it all the time. But anyway, it is what it is. So I started using the pickaxe to start the hole on most of the holes. I do a small pre-hole, and then it seems to work a little better. You can see this thing walking around. This is another rocky hole. So you see me kind of moving the bit. And those big rocks like that, they throw the auger around a little bit. So you got to get those out of there. Once you get them out, it seems to work pretty good. Once you hit big rocks, you know, it slates it slays it to one side or the other. So here's May 28th. I'm doing the what we're calling the apartment holes. And before doing this, I actually spent probably about 2 hours remeasuring everything. I had two holes I had to redo from the day before, just to make sure everything was square. So that was kind of fun. Angie was off doing other work, so I was there pulling lines and strings and all that fun stuff. Just to make sure everything was lining up. Again, we got a little bit of slop because these holes are 18-inch and we're doing 12-inch pillars, so we have a little bit of movement in the hole, and that allows us to kind of fudge it a little bit if we have to, but we're going to string it, of course, once we start pouring the concrete. Always with the farthest one away to the garage, and then away from it, and then we'll string them, the middle ones right in line. So here you're going to see me string a line on the very outside holes. I could see I was running off a little bit, especially this hole. It had a lot of rock in it, so I had to redo and reset. And on I went. Anyway, thanks for watching. Later.